Alright everyone, we are still in the video section for MVC architecture. So for this video, we will focus our study on the use of multiple views for our presentations. So in the previous example, if we revisit our structure over here, you can see that inside the view folder for the products controller, now we have a single view representations called index.cshtml. Now imagine that you want multiple view presentations. For example, you might want to have add, edit, and delete functionality for your business situation. So it is better to have multiple views in this case. Okay, so how do we do this? Well, we can do it like this. So we can go ahead and create the new file. I can call it edit.cshtml. Okay, and in this case I can also put some information right here. So for example, I can say this is the let's put this into h1 tag here. So this is the edit view. Okay, and we learned from the previous example that in order to return this view, you're gonna need to go to one of your controller and then return the view. So in action number 7 here, when we return, we indicate that the view name will be index, and then that view will take p1 objects as well. Okay, and in the view itself, we can connect the passing data using what we call data binding in .NET Core ASP architecture using add model, okay, as the reference, and then you can reference to the object's information as well in this case. Now we are going to switch to edit view right here, and then we are going to implement another actions. So in this case, you can have public string, and also I'm sorry, not string, so it's gonna be I action result, and then how about we call it action number 8. Oh, let's call it action number 9 first. Okay, and it doesn't take anything first, and return view of the edit. Now let's see if we can make this happen. So save it, and now rerun the application one more time. And what I need to do is I'm gonna have to switch to action number 9, and I expect that by calling this controllers and action name, I should get the edit views as the output. Okay, so they say this is the edit view. Okay, now there is another things that is interesting to note, is that if you do not want to put the edit here, okay, just leave it like that. And now if you rerun the application one more time, and if you're trying to call to the same actions over here, you can see that the system will show us the error message saying that this is not possible because you do not specify the view name. Now in .NET Core architecture here, if you want to keep it this way by returning the view but do not put the view name, what you need to do is you need to change the action name to match the view name. So in this case, if you put edit here and then you rerun the applications, and now I'm gonna need to change this also from action to the edit. Now the system will trying to locate the view, okay, that match the name of your actions. Now instead of specifying the view name directly here, so if you do not want to do it, if you want to omit it, just put the view. So the system will try its best to see what if I return you the views of edit? So they are going to look at the view folder for this controller and then look to see if we have the name of the view that match this action name. So this is another possibility to work with multiple views as well. Okay, that is one thing. Now for this view, what we are going to do is we're not just going to return the view like this. I like to return a list of objects. So allow me to copy this from action number 6. So we are going to create a list right here. So let's put it here. Alright, so inside my action edit here, I will have the new list called list1. Don't confuse about the list number 1 in both action because there are different entity. When this action got called, this one got created. The life cycle of this action will be gone after this action already completed the execution. Okay, so it's totally different list over here. And you might wonder, what if you want to use the common list one? You want to share the list between action? Well, that is going to be the topic for another section number 4, when we talk about database connections. Okay, how do we persist these object collections in database as well? All right, so in this case, I am going to return, okay, just like in the previous example. Now we have action number I think action number edit, right? We have edit here, and when we return I think I copied this for the long thing here. Okay, let's edit. I just have to copy this from here. Okay, from here. Okay, and then copy this down right here before we return the view. And now in order to pass this object collection along with the view, we just have to say list1. Okay, so the list1 will be passed through the view. Now okay, we learned that whenever you want to pick up these passing objects, okay, in the view, previously in another example in the index, we use add model to reference to this. But whenever we pass this in the previous example here, we pass just a single object. If you look at this, we pass only one object here. And if you want to pick up, this is how we pick up. We use add model. But the problem is now we are passing a collection of objects, not just a single object anymore. Is the list of this. Is it gonna same implementation? Well, we'll see. So we are going to pick it up the same way. How about this? So we go to the view edit, and now we know that we are going to reference to the metadata for this business entity. So we say add model and project namespace model. And then dot is going to be for products. Okay, and okay, now if I trying to locate the passing data, okay, let's say this is long spelling, and if I want to reference to add model dot, let's say dot name for the first elements. See if this is possible. Now if I rerun the project here, well, when I say first object, so it's going to be this, okay, the array. Save it, f number 5, and it's supposed to give me the first product name if the same implementation would apply to this. Okay, let's see if this is possible. So now I'm going to go and look at edit one more time here and enter this. Alright, and say okay, there is an error. Alright, this is not possible. In this case, the reason for this is because you cannot just reference to the array this way. This is not possible. And also, whenever you want to reference to this one should become the enumerable. So if you look at the document online here, okay, say .NET Core View Enumerable Model. Okay. So in this case, we are going to prefix our model here like this. We're gonna say that this is not just a single object, but this is the list. So if you want to say that this is the list, metadata of the list, we say enumerable. And you cannot just reference it this. Okay, let's try to see if this is working. Okay, so I'm trying to do the same thing here, but just turn metadata for a single object into a list of objects. And now we are trying to reference to the first elements of this array. See if this is working. So let's go to our view here and waiting for this to be come up. Okay, now I think it's come up. Let's go to edit one more time. So it's gonna say waiting for localhost and produce the same error. So that means this is not possible as well. So do we have any solution for this? Yes, we do. Now inside .NET Core, you can do the looping. Okay, so in order to do the looping in .NET Core, okay, you can search for the net. So you can say .NET Core, okay, laser syntax loop. Okay, so that's the way to search for this. And in order to perform the looping, then you're gonna need to use add for a standard one for this. Okay, but if you want to go for the models, so we're gonna use for each. So I'm going to remove this, and I say add for each. And then for this one, we are going to have var of each time when we loop into the list collections. Is going to be let me call products in add the model itself. And now once we have this one, we can produce the output. So let me produce the paragraph of add products dot name. I'm going to show you why do I put add right here. Okay, so let's save for this and rerun the application one more time. So for this case, we are going to go back to our example here and initiate this call one more time. So it's going to be edit again, and it's going to give me the result. So you can see that now we get P1, P2, and P3 according to our call here. When we return our information, you can see that we return list one along with the view, okay, as the input. And of course, they have the name P1, P2, and P3 respectively. In the view, in order to reference to each object, okay, so we're gonna need to use the for loop inside the view. This is not the C#, but it is in CS HTML. We call laser syntax. For laser syntax, if you want to do the looping, we prefix your for each by using the add symbol. And just like in C#, we can do the looping, okay, using this object notation here. And we are looping in the collections to refer to the collection, just like when you pass the single objects, you refer to add model. That's representation for single object. Also, when we pass the collection of object, we use add model as well. Okay, and now whenever to reference to the real data for this variable inside laser syntax here, you cannot just put product.name, because if you do it like this, okay, you can try to see what would be happen. So I'm going to call this again one more time. All right, and I'm going to refresh this, and you should see that instead of printing out the real data, there is print out product.name, which is the text. Imagine that in HTML situations, if you want to refer to variable in here, you cannot just put the name of this variable directly. You have to prefix each variable with add symbol, and that will fix our solution. Now my next my next aim is to also, instead of just showing the name, I would like to show it in the table format. Okay, so let's talk about how do we render this using the help of the Bootstrap framework so that we can do styling for table as well. Thank you for watching.